Okay, here we are. Hello, everybody. Joseph here from the Healing Market with Sherri and Stuart. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you all?
Great.
Very, very excited to have you guys on. Today, we're going to talk about the process of manifesting, manifesting money. Now, why we choose money? Because, oh, we got some feedback here. Because manifesting money is really a proof that you manifested something. So if you can manifest money, you can manifest anything you like. Most people ask to manifest health, relationship, money, good fortune, good living conditions, and things of that nature. And then on a higher level, people ask to manifest connection to higher source, talk to the aliens, mediumship, what have you. But we can but we can start with something very simple. And once we get the process of doing that, I believe that we can really manifest anything we want.
Yes.
So you guys all know Sherri. Sherri Norris works with me, and we are about to launch our course, the 21-day manifesting challenge. It's almost ready to go. And our very special guest, Stuart, who is a neighbor of Sherri's and a teacher.
Thank you.
And what I've asked from each and every one of us is to come up with a few concrete points for manifesting. So we'll do a roundtable about that. And then we'll go into some group discussion and we'll finish with a bit of a meditation. Will help everyone to focus in on the manifestation.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Well, that's the intro. Okay, Stuart, stage is yours.
So I think the most important thing with understanding manifesting things, and especially I think money is a really I like the way that you put it in the intro there. So it's not about just understanding how to manifest money, but it's about creating other things in your life. And the thing that I usually talk to people about around money is it's about understanding exactly what it is that you want. And the truth is that you don't want money, right? You don't want a big stack of paper lying around. You want the things that you believe money will bring to you. So instead of focusing on, I want to have $5,000, well, what do you want the $5,000 for? Because the universe might have a whole bunch of other ways to bring you that exact thing that you want, where it doesn't require you having to have $5,000.
Right.
So I think it's really important to get very clear on what you want and why you want it, and then get clearer on those things to boil it down to exactly what it is that you want, right? So what we all really want at the end of the day isn't the experiences, isn't the money, isn't the stuff. It's to be happy and feel joy, right? It's about the emotions more than anything else. So if we start by focusing on the emotions that we actually want, it's amazing how all the other bits and pieces start falling into place, including wealth, financial wealth. I wouldn't call it money, I would call it financial wealth, because money, it tends to be something that is a lot more transitory, right? It comes in and then it'll leave very quickly, as opposed to wealth, which is something that sticks around.
Very good.
Yeah.
What else?
Sherri, you're nodding there. Do you want to say anything about that?
I know. I agree with that. I think that's interesting, the perspective. There's that, I think we could recommend that book actually that you recommended to me. Do you remember what it's called, Stuart? Like I listened anyways, we could.
Yeah, we can find which one. I recommend a lot of books.
Yeah.
I've probably
Yes,
recommended a whole bunch.
I know. Because that in that book is what they talk about really is like what is it actually that you want the money for? Like you don't really want money. It's like more maybe you want freedom, maybe you want
Yeah.
like a lifestyle, right?
Yes.
And then of course the emotion is huge. I think I always say this is that like we're manifesting all the time anyways.
Yes.
So it's not even like we're just going to start manifesting. We're already manifesting. So it's getting clear on why you're manifesting what you actually are manifesting and then why
Yeah.
you're blocking what you're manifesting. I think those are really big pieces for people is, oh, wow, like I'm actually manifesting all the time. Like you already have the power to do it. You're already doing it. Like you're already manifesting maybe the kind of relationships you're manifesting. You're already manifesting that you have to be stressed out all the time because you can't seem to hold on to money because deep down you don't think you deserve to have that money, that lifestyle. You don't know how to hold on to it. So like those are all with the moving parts of it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, I think sitting in like what Stuart said, like, why do I want this? What do I really want? What kind of life do I want to live? And what does that life feel like? Like that life feels safe, consistent. There's freedom. So those are three things, okay, that you're going to start calling in. And then that will just show up as a fuller piece, if that makes sense. Because you need to rewire what your belief systems around money are. It's the same thing as relationship, like what Yossi said earlier. It's like what are your associations around the thing? Like, why do you want the relationship? Why do you want the money? And do you think you deserve it? Because a lot of people don't. And so you will just sabotage it every single time.
Yeah. And it's usually on a subconscious level.
Yeah, it's subconscious. Exactly. And then once you start telling, it's a bit of a journey. I mean, like once you start telling yourself, okay, like I deserve this, you may go, oh, wow, that feels weird to say that because I don't really believe that. Like, I actually don't believe that I deserve money. And then do I feel fear around money? Like, am I scared of money? Because then if you get it, like you hear about people winning the lottery and they blow the whole thing and they're fucking broke again. Like, because they can't have the, like, they can't have like the consistency. Like there's so many pieces to that. Do you need stress in your life? Are you addicted to stress? Are you going to sabotage it? Do you think you're worth it? Like, there's a lot of those belief systems and narratives that you need to really like tap into before you start manifesting. And then this being specific. I think it goes back to what Stuart said too, is the why, like money, but why? Because then when you get it, you're just on this constant like chase. From like you're gonna blow it. You're gonna be more emotionally, like you're gonna be more grateful. You have more gratitude when you understand the why behind it.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was, I think you're 100% right in terms of like we're always manifesting.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you don't have what you want is something that you have created, right? We're always in creation. We're creating everything. We're creating the person yelling at you on the street just as much as we're creating all the good stuff that happens, right? It's all, we're doing all of it.
Right, exactly.
And so, the idea that if you focus on, oh, this is what I want money because I just want to have more money in my life, it's usually because you don't feel that you have enough. So the place that you're actually coming from is the place that I don't have enough and I need more. So it's what's the underneath. And the underneath there is actually not abundance, but it's lack.
Yes.
So when you start to just focus on the abundance within your life that you already have and start to use that to multiply it out, that's kind of the place that you want to come to it from. Now, when you want to focus it back towards a particular thing, it's more like, let's see how much I can create, as opposed to, I want more just because I need to have more, right? If you do it from this inquiry place of like, just how much can I create for myself, it takes the idea of lack out of it completely. Yeah.
That's huge too, is like where you're manifesting from. Like it's like a place of lack and not enough. Do you think it's also to do with self-power, like self-belief and stepping into your power? Like not looking at manifesting like it's outside of you, but it's actually inside of you. Like it's not something to get, like it's actually you doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think a lot of people believe that it's this thing outside that is going to be bestowed on them.
Yes.
As opposed to you actually creating your own reality moment to moment to moment.
Right. And the self-accountability piece where it's like, oh, wow, I'm actually already creating this. So if you can create this life, then you can create another one. Like you can create.
Exactly. I like the way that Abraham Hicks puts it, where it's a train. And the train has momentum and the train is going in a particular direction. What you need to do is stop the train and have it change direction. Because the train is moving, you're in creation, you're just in creation in a way that isn't making you as happy as what you possibly can be.
Right.
So let's change the track on the train and go in a different direction. But
Yeah.
understanding that there's momentum that's there that needs to be slowed down, right? So even if you change your mindset today, it doesn't mean that everything is going to change today. It's going to take a little bit of time before you
Yes.
really see it start to move.
Right. I think that's huge. I was gonna say, like, people think that it's like instant, or it's gonna happen how they think it's gonna happen. I think that's another thing where people are manifesting, but then in a week they're like, oh, it's not here. What? But it could take 3 months. Like, it depends on what, like what you're saying. It's more of like a journey, and the surrender piece of it as well. Like, you're manifesting it, but you have to surrender to how it's gonna show up. That's my
Yeah.
experience in stories, is you just surrender what it looks like. Like, it's not gonna maybe show up how you thought.
Yeah, most people tend to have blinders on, like this is the thing that I want, and this is the only way that I can see it coming to me. So
Yes.
let's focus on getting it that way.
Right.
So I had a client who we were doing a bunch of different coaching work, and he wanted to open a gym. We had a side conversation. He wanted to open a gym, and he said, I need to have $75,000, and it's going to take me 4 years to save up that $75,000 the way that I'm going right now, and I'm good with that and everything else. I said, hang on. No. So you got to take off the idea that it's going to take you 4 years to get $75,000, and just be open to the idea, like, I just need $75,000 to open my gym. 3 months later, he happened to be having a conversation with a friend and he said, yeah, you know what, I want to open this gym. And his friend said, you know what, I've been trying to open a franchise for 5 years and nobody is giving me a franchise. And I've got like $100,000 sitting here for a franchise. I would love to be able to invest that with you.
Yeah.
Because you take
The
off
perfect
the
example.
blinders that it needs to be from a certain way, right?
Yeah, I think that's where people sort of, like, they can miss the boat because it could show up in a different way. Like, that's such a perfect
Yeah.
example. And
Yeah.
they're like, it's because they really get stuck on but this is what it's gonna look like. Like,
Yeah, it has to look this way because it's the only one that I understand.
right, exactly. It's so interesting.
So I'm gonna intervene here. You guys give me some advice on what do I need to focus to allow money in my life.
Abundance in some other area of your life other than money.
I think so.
For example,
Yeah.
For example, understanding the amount of abundance that you have just in general. The fact that you have a bed to sleep in, the fact that, you have the knowledge of the world literally at your fingertips, right? This is true abundance that we don't even pay any attention to. Just understanding and being grateful for everything that you have now, and understanding just how amazing and great that is, starts to take the train from the one track and put it onto the other track. When you're on the other track, then all of that stuff just starts to naturally show up. And I'm not a big fan of saying, like, it just naturally shows up, but it's amazing how it just naturally starts to show up, like, finding a $50 bill on the street. 1 month last year, I found almost $100 over a couple days, literally lying on the street.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. It's I think it's allowing it to come with ease. So it's gratitude is huge. If you're not already grateful for what you have, why are you going to get more? So I think what Stuart said, it's almost like looking at yourself in the mirror in your eyes every day to really understand, like, that you are an abundant being. So you could just look at yourself in the eyes every day and say, I am enough, I am abundant, and then walk through what comes around that. Because again, like, you have to believe that you're worth what you're calling in. But
yeah, and I think that we place a lot of seriousness on it.
Yes.
And if we can stop making it so serious, it's a game.
Yeah.
Treat it like it's a game. I'm going to get a free coffee today. and start with something like that, because the more that you can take the significance off of it, the more likely it is to show up, because it goes back to what we were saying before in terms of like that mindset piece of like, oh, it's got to happen, and I need it to happen, and I need it to happen. It's because underneath is still that idea that it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening.
Yes. It's like desperation almost, like
Yeah.
this desperate feeling.
Yeah. So if you just sit back and relax and enjoy the process, when a lot of people feel that if I take my focus off of what it is that I really want and I focus on this thing over here, it's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what can happen is something, either that will happen or something way better will happen,
Yes.
right? You need to leave it up to higher powers that know better than you do in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. It's such a big part of it. Yeah.
And they do.
They do.
Yes. Yes. I can tell you nothing has showed up the way that I've ever thought it would show up.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Like, and I knew, I thankfully I had that understanding. Like, I would just say things like, okay, let it be easy. Like, today, everything is going to happen like perfectly. It's just going to happen exactly as I need it to, and it's going to be easy. And the more I said that, literally it was almost like uncanny how that started to just happen. Like, it was crazy how it just show up, because I just expected it to show up also. Like, that's a big, right? Like, I'm like, no, it's going to. I expect it to. The more that my self-worth like rose, and the more I just expected it to come, because I need it and I deserve it, and it's going to come, and that's it. That was just it. But then letting go also, like, of how it's going to show up, so you don't maybe miss it. Yeah. And then it just has to. Like, as people that you see that are the most powerful manifestors, I feel like that's how they are. I've just seen that happen for them. Like, they just literally expect it to.
I would say have a broad expectation of abundance.
Right. Yeah.
Probably the best way to put it. A broad expectation of abundance.
Yeah. That's
abundance just shows up because I'm me and I'm awesome, and this is end of story. And whatever it is that I want is just going to show up. Yes. And you start to see little things start to happen. And again, it's taking the idea that I know exactly what it is that I want and how I want it. It takes the fun out of it, really.
It kind of does. It does, right? It kind of does take the fun out of it. I think the play component you mentioned was really powerful and insightful. I think that's, I don't want to say crucial, but the joy, like, it's almost like the play frequency, like the child energy, because that is essentially child energy. It's like creating, like, and it's fun and joyful. It's not desperate and, oh my gosh, or like, do I deserve it? Kids don't even think that. No. They just, they'll just create, because they don't have those, oh, maybe I don't deserve it, maybe this and that. They don't have that. So that's also interesting. It's like a child energy.
Sherri, from your practice, you help people with coaching and hypnosis and NLP suggestions. How would you suggest to someone to go from the state of lack to the state of I'm worthy, abundance, I have it, it's all there for me?
That is a journey, and from what I see when I work with people, it does, of course, depend like where they're at already. So some people have done a little bit of work, some people are really aware, whereas other people are completely unaware. And one of the biggest things I think I see is like just the refusal to accept their personal power, like that they can actually do it, because people actually don't believe that they can do a lot. When you really talk to people, they don't have faith in themselves. So they just would rather keep living the mediocre life and keep being a victim and blaming. And they're like, well, because they can't. It's like what we touched on before, like the taking accountability for your life. Like, you are creating your life. So it depends on where they are. But I would say the best thing to do is to do like a hypnosis meditation and like a subconscious mind meditation. Because that's what's going to come up that's when we go back in time to when you were small. That's when your child speaks to you. That's when your teenager speaks to you, and you can and they will literally tell you, like, every time clients are blown away because that they get told in that moment when they're just in that meditation, they're like, this is what you need to heal, because you need to heal those things, because you're operating from the pain frame otherwise. So you're not going to be able to shift your frequency unless you start doing that sort of work, right? You're becoming more conscious. You can heal those like deeper layers. That'd be where that's where I always tell people to start. That's where I always start people, so that we can actually see, like, okay, this is where you're operating from now. Like, this is what you're operating from. Like, this is your, it's like you're casting out a fishing rod every day, and what are you pulling in every day with that frequency? Like, okay, you want to like maybe throw back some and pull in something else. Like, that's what you need to do. That's what I would say to start with, because there is a lot of layers to it, right? But I would start there.
In our program, part of the things we have is a daily focus planner.
Yes.
And in the program, there's a daily planner, and it starts, and it's kind of hard to see, but it starts and ends with gratitude and ask. Gratitude and ask. Sherri, maybe you can expand a bit about what does it mean to start and end your day with gratitude and ask.
Yes, this is something I do. I think I've seen how powerful it is. So gratitude practices, I think you do that too, but it's before you go to sleep. You'll hear a lot of people saying this, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, like whoever. It's just the people that do that, like Robin Sharma, like people that are really big into mindset and manifestation, is right before you're going into those deep levels of sleep. It's just setting. So this is what people do, even like Olympic athletes, when they're training and they're visualizing that they want to win, right? Is right before you go to sleep. It doesn't even take a lot of time. Because when you go to sleep, obviously your mind is maybe cycling through a lot of shit and garbage, and you're like, oh, I can't believe that happened today. This is such bullshit. Oh, wow, tomorrow I have to do this and that. Okay, well, then you go to sleep, and your cortisol's raised, and your body's not, like, you have to, how you go to sleep and then how you wake up. So you want to, like, lock into gratitude. Gratitude releases, like, serotonin in your brain. It releases all the happy chemicals in your brain. So at least sit before bed, whether you're journaling, you have a cup of tea, or you're just even lying in bed. It doesn't matter. Like, it's like minimal effort. Just start training your brain to be grateful, because it's an addiction. Like, that stress is like an addiction, right? It's just like being complaining before bed is like the last thing you want to do. So just be grateful. I know that sounds like cliche, just be grateful, but it's actually so powerful. So yeah, before bed, I would say do 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for today, and just sit with those. And then
I review my day and I go, oh my God, I had such an amazing day. I had this list here. Here's my book. This is my actual book, and all the lists I have to do it's already full for today. All that, like, hey, I did pretty good today. Okay, the gym, I didn't hit the gym at 5, but I'll just go after. Other than that, like, I hit all my spots. Stuart, what kind of practices do you use to get into a higher state, whether it's gratitude or channeling state or receiving, communicating state?
For me, it's quiet. It's just a basic meditation. It's really actually nothing very fancy. It's settling myself. When it comes to the voices in my head, the voices in my head are sort of always the voices in my head when it comes for channeling. It's always there. The last handful of months, and it's this sort of ongoing conversation.
Right.
Yeah. With that, I really do like the gratitude practice at night. It is a great practice. We actually use it with our 10-year-old son, and we've been doing that for the last 5-6 years. Every night before he goes to bed, he says, dear angels, thank you for the wonderful day I had, and thank you for these things specific for that day. And because it's everything that Sherri said, and when we're falling asleep and we're complaining or we're thinking about all those stressful things, is what the brain is working on all night. Mm-hmm. So you're staying in that space the whole time. So if you really can get good with just being grateful, and it's not just saying the words, but it's getting to the point where you're feeling it in your body, like, I genuinely am grateful for these things in my day, makes a huge difference. I know a lot of people do it and they just kind of pay it lip service. Like, yeah, I'm grateful and I feel grateful, but it's like, no, there's a difference between feeling a little grateful, feeling a little happy for something, and when you feel it in your chest, like
Yeah,
it is
it's
a
like
completely different thing. That is the game changer when it comes to manifesting. Actually, it is a big game changer with that, because when you feel that abundance, when you feel that havingness in your chest, in your whole being, it changes everything. And it takes the patience to sit and be relentless with yourself. Like, I'm not getting up until I feel this way. And then the first day it might take, half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it is. But then the next day it takes less, and then it takes less, and it takes less, and it takes less. And you brought up Joe Dispenza. That's actually something that Dr. Joe talks about in terms of manifesting things as well as healing the body. It's what he did to help heal his body from massive spinal injury.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
How would you guys apply these practices to particular manifesting money?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I think, like for me, what I started, because I've been doing what Stuart said, sort of like playing with it, like in a more light frequency. So I actually think it's rewiring. Like you're gonna do this for relationships too, but it's like rewiring your feelings around money. And like money makes me feel safe. Money's always there when I need it. Money's my best friend. Like I can count on money, right? Like, and you feel kind of silly doing that in the beginning, but then it really is like tapping into the child energy and being able to actually do that. Just play with it and have fun with it from the joy frequency. So it's the same. I would before you go to sleep, just start seeing yourself in your mind, like what you want, like what you desire. Just feel like, sure, you can see money, you can think about the way money feels and smells and like get in tune with like, wow, when I touch money, like how do I actually feel when I'm holding it? Like, or my debit card, am I like scared all the time? Because then you have like the fear frequency of money. You have to start believing that money will always be there for you, like always. So you can, before you go to bed, just sort of have fun with it too. Again, like we were saying, don't take it so seriously, but have fun with it and imagine yourself what that would feel like if you were free and money was just always there for you. And go to sleep with that thought. Like fall asleep imagining that. Like be a child, like wild, like it could look like whatever you want it to look like. But just go there with it and just have fun and just run with it, the emotion. And like Stuart was saying, like just feel it, like feel that actual, like that, what that relationship with money would feel like. Like if you, I don't want to say if you won the lottery, but it's just that feeling of freedom and safety that you would feel, right? Because you're going to notice it during the day. When you start doing that kind of work, like during the day, you'll be like, oh, wow. Like you can become hyper aware of what your beliefs and like feelings are around it. So if you're going to the store and you're like, oh no, money's hot. Like, no, I shouldn't. And you're like, wait, no, stop. And then that's the rewiring, like the work of the rewiring. No, money's always there for me. Like my daughter would think I was crazy. I'd be like, I love money and money loves me. It comes to me so easily. And she'd be like, oh my God. I'm like, whatever I spend comes right back. Oh, would you look at that? Like that's like a total childhood, like child energy. And she's like, oh my God, like really? And then like money would come and I'd be like, see, wow, look at that. $200 check in the mail. I don't know what, but it's just like the frequency of joy and childlike energy. So I would suggest, I mean, that's not easy for people to do, like to sing a song like that and act like they're, 7 years old. But I think like before going to bed for sure, visualizing that and like feeling that emotionally and almost like let yourself get excited about it. So do the gratitude thing and then do that money ritual, like the visualization.
Thank you. Stuart, what do you think it takes for someone who has been trained and programmed, like many of us, almost all of us, for the I'm not worthy to switch to I am worthy, from lack to abundance, from fear to hope and love? What would you
I would
suggest for someone to go through that change it over?
to shift it over. I'd say sing Sherri's song. I love that song.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. Thanks.
um, it's give yourself the space to go through a process. It takes time, and you're starting with small things. So, understanding where you're at and being okay with where you're at being okay with where you're at doesn't mean that you are going to stay where you're at, but you have to be okay with where you're at first and love yourself exactly where you're at to then be able to build on it. If you don't do that first, and it's like, yeah, but I want to get here, but I want to get here, but I want to get here, you're not building on a solid foundation. You're trying to build something not on a solid foundation. And again, it's this thing of actually focusing more on the lack, right? I'm so unhappy with where I am. I need to be somewhere else. So you're focusing on the fact that you're unhappy where you are. So it's getting happy with where you are, and starting to feel that abundance on like a deep knowingness of, but I have everything that I want, and I know that I have everything that I want. You know, what's been popping to mind the last few minutes is, you know, when you look at athletes. So when you look at NBA athletes and NFL athletes, it's something like the statistics, something like 3 to 5 years after they stop playing, I believe it's like 80% of them are broke, and they're making, you know, minimum contracts in the NBA are something like $1.1 million. But the statistics are completely different for the NHL. And why are they different for the NHL? Well, you look where the athletes come from, right? So NFL and NBA, they're coming from tend to come from lower income areas, whereas NHL, they're all upper middle income. So they've started off with a completely different mindset, right? So even though they're given all of this money in the NBA and the NFL, their mindset still hasn't changed, right? They still believe like it's just going to come, it's going to do all these different things. But they haven't really anchored that mindset, right? They've built it on a false foundation. So it's about really building that foundation and being good with exactly where you are and building it slowly more than anything else.
Wow.
I guess it's more expensive to play hockey than to kick a ball.
It is a lot more expensive to play hockey, so you tend to get those upper middle income kids. Yeah, it's
Right.
really fascinating stats on that stuff.
Wow.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
No.
Wow, that is really interesting. So do you think that's like tied into a belief of like money doesn't stay, like you can't count on money, like is it like an abandonment thing?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, you grow up. So there's a great book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and he looks at it through this idea that you have a thermostat, a money thermostat. And so you believe that there is a subconscious belief that there's like a ceiling on money or a lifestyle or whatever it is. So it doesn't matter how much more you make, you still don't feel like you have enough.
Right.
Because you're just, because that's what you grew up with, you're just perpetuating the same ideas.
Right.
Exactly. And that also ties back into the childhood imprints, shadow work, that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the idea, like money doesn't come easily. I can't have what I want. You know, one of those
bad people have money. Money's bad.
But yeah, exactly. All those kind of things. So if that's the context that you're creating your life from, you need to work on that first. So when I was doing coaching work with people, that was a big piece that we would do, was we'd unwind things back to understanding their childhood imprints. So looking at how they view the world now, and unraveling that back down to these base childhood imprints. When you have the imprints, then you can see them at play in your life, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, it's still the same imprints that you put in place when you were, 9, 10 years old. So when you do that, there's some really great ways that you can start to unwind those, the neural patterns, the neural clusters that get built around those things. You can actually start to unwind them and build new ones.
Right. Yes. And one of the things that Sherri and I are going to do in a program, and Stuart, maybe you'll be there, is to really start getting people to see the truth about themselves and around money, and just like you mentioned, to gamify it. One thing I really like is there's all these new apps. It's called fintech, financial technology. So in Canada, there's Wealth Simple, and there's the orange one, ING, and all these, and they all have very simplified apps. So it looks like a game, and then you can put a few dollars in that thing, and you can buy a stock or buy crypto, or just keep it as a dollar, or buy another currency from another country, and it's just like a game. And then you can show it to your friends and say, hey, I made like $50 on this app, and then you can cash it out or trade it or buy something else for it. So I think that's a really good way to remove the fear of money and really just detach from it. The moment you detach from it, it's like it's just a game. I'm just playing a game here, and I spent $1,000, but whatever. It's just a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly like what it ties back into what Sherri was saying earlier about we're creating all the time, and we're actually putting roadblocks in our way. And when you gamify things, when you have fun with it, you tend to not have those same barriers in place. Because we've all had these moments where it's like, oh shit, all of a sudden this money showed up. Wow, that's pretty amazing, right? And it's because it's like the goalie left.
Yeah.
Right? The goalie went on break, and now it's just starting to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys noticed that periods when we receive money, usually you get, you meet cool people, maybe you have a new relationship, whether it's, whatever kind of relationship, like a lot of good things happen at the same time the money shows up. If you have if the money, you magnetize in the money, you usually magnetize other things as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying around abundance, right? It's really about feeling abundant in your whole life that has the money start to come in as well. You have to feel abundant in other areas, and then that one just sort of shows up.
We have a kid in the picture. Here's I got a couple of notes here I want to share with you guys, and I'll let you riff on those. This is a really good one I heard today on a video on a YouTube channel. The guy said, "Move from obligation to creation." Move from obligation to creation. Instead of seeing yourself, and the way I interpret it is, instead of seeing yourself shackled, to the mortgage, to the payments, da 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 da. No. Go into the world where you are the master of your own domain. You create. You are in charge here. And then, okay, I need to do this. I'll do it. I need to do that. I'll do it. And here I am. Check my list, and I'm good. And I've done the exact same task I had to do with ease and grace. It's just flowing. Obligation to creation. How about this one? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, obligation to creation. Yeah, it's when you're in the space of feeling obligated to do things, like that's the context that you're creating for life. And so, the shackles very much is about feeling shackled down. And like my lot in life is the idea that shows up where there's no joy. It's just about, I just have to do these things, and this is it, as opposed to just being in that creation, because creation is about newness. It's about birth. It's about joy and openness, as opposed to obligation, which is about repression and being closed down and heavy.
Very good. Well, yeah, here's another one.
Actually, do anything if it feels like shit like that.
Well, we've been programmed for many years, through the system and parents and society. So it does take. You need to smash the mirror. From Tommy, the opera rock show. He has
Yeah.
to go and smash the mirror, and then the world opens for him. He is blind before that, and when he smashes the mirror, he can see again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the metaphor there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. I heard that from another channel, and the lady said, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but the idea was great. She said, "There's in your soul contract before you show up here. There's a budget. There's a sum of money assigned to you for your life, and most people don't spend it all." Now, I don't know if it's true that a sum of money is assigned to you or not, but I really like the idea that don't worry about it. Like, if you need to spend that money, spend it. If you need to invest it, that's what I took from it. If you need to invest in it, invest in it. Don't be so emotionally attached to your last dollar. There's always another one coming, and more and more. It's just endless. So get on the train of endless gold coins coming towards you. There's always more set in your book.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I mean, I don't know if that
But let's take Elon. Elon has been assigned a lot of money, and now what is he doing with it? He spends it over there, he spends it over there. He flies these rockets, they blow up. So that's a good example. Yeah, we don't get it political here, but that's a good example of, okay, I got all this money. I'm gonna try and see if I can make it to Mars. And if the rockets blow,
Yeah.
it's okay. I got more. I'll just keep doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think kind of one of the things you're getting at there is money is an energy, right? Essentially, money,
Yeah.
when you boil it all down, money is an energy. It's meant to be an exchange of energy. My work for somebody else's work, and we just change a piece of paper or ones and zeros for it now. But it always needs to be in flow. It always needs to be moving. It needs to come in. When it comes in, it needs to go out. For it to grow, it needs to be continuously moving.
It does.
Mhm.
Okay, I got a couple more here for you guys. These are various metaphors or ideas. What I was thinking about money and manifesting, creating money. You had the background, Sherri. From fear to love, from dark to light, and from intention to attention. So the idea is that the when I contract, there's nothing happening. But when I expand, so when I expand myself into the universe, when I allow myself to expand to who I am, which is one with the universe, then I can get on that money creation vibration. When I started in real estate, I've been doing this for a long time now. I would, and this is way before I knew about these things. I would always imagine myself, and this just intuitively came to me as a stream. There's a stream of people doing great business there all the time. Like, I look around, and it's like there's always something happening. I just need to be in that stream. To be in that stream, I need to be in that mindset. I need to learn about it. I need to meet people that do it. And before I do, and I started with nothing. I would go and do it would be like minus 20 out. I try to get the key out of the lockbox to do some rental, and the person would not show up. But I don't care. Like, I'm going in that stream, and I'll find that stream, and eventually you find the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's so great.
Yeah.
And
then you build the confidence. Yeah, and then you build the confidence. And once you have the confidence, it really is a leap of faith. Really is a leap of faith, like literally, to have the confidence in yourself, even if you haven't done it. I mean, imagine the ski jumper going for that big jump, first time ever. Maybe he did little jumps, but now it's like, or the one who jumps off the cliff, or whatever it is, like the one who goes, I'm going to go into the listing presentation, or get that new job, or ask that girl out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real leap of faith. But that and I have a friend, Adam. He says, I fail my way to success. I'm
Mhm.
failing my way to success. He's doing great, but he goes, all I'm doing is I keep failing, but I keep going to that direction, and eventually, like, I'm there.
Yeah. I've heard people say that, like, if you're gonna fail, fail fast. It's just that's like a business saying I've heard like entrepreneurs say. Yeah, and I understand it. It's like what you're saying. It's like they're failing to get where they to get where they're gonna go. Like they never stop, basically. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got one more for you guys, and then I want to move a bit about your practices.
Okay, sure.
And it's along the same lines. So we talked about the confidence and the belief, and really what it comes to knowing. So last year we were channeling an ET named Etham, called himself Etham, and I would say, I imagine this, I believe, said, no, it's knowing. He will just put me down, like, it's knowing. You gotta know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you guys can comment on the knowing.
Uh,
What is knowing to you?
Knowing comes from a much deeper place. It's like you feel it in your whole body. It's you just know, like, this is the thing, and that's kind of the end of the story. It doesn't matter what anybody else tells you is right or
Uh-huh.
wrong, true or false. It's like you just know that this is your truth.
yeah, I understand. Because I feel like that's where I am at now is like this knowing. It's like this just unshakable like faith and surrender and confidence. But it took a long time to get to that place. So it's kind of hard to put it into words, actually, that feeling.
It does.
It's yeah. It takes a while to get to that place, though. Definitely, like it's just such a trust, right, in the universe, honestly, and yourself. It's like realizing you
And
are the
yourself.
universe almost. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's people say the challenges of life, they never stop. It's like till your last breath. It's like one after, it never stops. But what
Yeah.
stops or what changes is how you respond to the challenge. And the sooner in life you learn to respond, and I'm Aries, I'm all fire, and
Yeah.
most of my life I responded the absolute wrong way, which is like just the horns into the wall. No,
Yep.
you don't have to do that. You can respond in a good way that allows you to navigate through whatever challenge you've been faced, and those challenges will keep repeating until you learn how to deal with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Okay, very good. Okay, so now, guys, I want to ask you a little bit about your practices. I mentioned that Sherri and I are going to have a course soon, 21-day manifesting challenge. And Sherri, I'll start with you. Tell us a bit about your practice as a coach, as a healer, as NLP, and what you do with people, how you help them.
My session started out as coaching, basically like hypnotherapy based. So what I mentioned before is that hypnosis meditation. So it's going into the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is where we store all of our beliefs, like narratives from childhood, right? Like it's like what we absorbed. Like we're in a state of hypnosis until the age of 7. So you're just basically like whatever your parents told you, whatever you learned from society, it just gets stored there. And then as an adult, ta-da, like that's what's sort of leading you in relationship, in job, and just the self-reflection of who you are. So we do that. I have that. So it's more of like hypnotherapy, which can be used for many different things. Habits, relationships, money. It basically rewires your neural pathways so that you can attract something different. It also helps you understand why you're creating the reality that you're creating. And then I also have the psychic channeling sessions, which I can call in the energy body. And then I get downloaded messages through the channeling of what that person needs to heal. So energetically, physically. And that's more of like a psychic session. So it is helping you with the same things, sort of as the hypnotherapy does, but it's more a channeling and it's coming through. So you can do past life regression, like generational cord cutting, like things like that, like the merging with your higher self. So that's the psychic channeling session. So I have those two, and then I do have a program on how to heal the chase avoidant wound. because we do have a culture of chasers and avoiders, and there's also that. So those are my sort of 3 top offerings right now.
Thank you, Stuart.
Right now, I'm mostly focusing on a blog around channeling, a group that I call Head Office, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. I've been a Reiki master and practitioner for over 10 years, and I've been a medical intuitive for the last 2.5 years. And I'm just in the process of bringing it all together with coaching that I've done. So I've been a performance coach for elite level athletes for probably about 8 years. So I'm bringing all of those things together to create something very different for people, where it's not about a specific modality. It's about taking them where they need to go, even if they don't even realize that's where they need to go.
Yes.
Right. Very good. I'll ask you some offline questions about performance stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've never stopped. And okay, and my day-to-day life is in real estate, which I love, and I practice real estate in Toronto and in the Tamarindo area in Costa Rica and around the area there. And I'm the founder and creator of the Healing Market, which brings together people like ourselves, intuitives, psychics, coaches, teachers, and people can learn there, can take a course, can take our course, and meet other people that are on the path, on the journey. And hopefully these efforts make the world a little better every time.
Yes, exactly.
So what I'd like to offer now is I'd like the 3 of us to take a minute and meditate and really send just good, loving vibes. So anyone who's watching now and anyone that may watch later. I think we lost Sherri, but hopefully she'll come back. Sherri, come back. Sherri, come back. Let me see if I can bring Sherri back.
All right.
If not, it's just Stuart and I. Sherri. Send the link again. Sherri. Okay, I'll see. I'll just send her the link back. But if not, we'll just do it.
Sure.
And we'll just give it a minute. Stuart, I really want to thank you for your time. The links are in the chat. And when I repost this video with captions, I'll also add them there. And you'll have a copy, of course.
Excellent.
So that was wonderful. Hope I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love this. This was great.
My pleasure. Making the world better, one video at a time. Okay, I think Sherri's gone, but if you're ready, we'll give everyone a good minute.
Sure. Sounds good.
And we'll close with that. All right.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.